Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Education and Immigration presentation brought to you by Morgan Lowe, Kurt Gobble, Kristin Sanders, and Hailey von Krusze. We developed an objective which is to locate and identify local, state, and federal resources that will contribute to the educational success for the participants of the Sanchez family. In doing that, we developed a research question, which is what immigration policies impact educational resources on all three levels.
So beginning with the eco map, we developed a key to show the different connections of the Sanchez family. The areas that we decided to concentrate in are immigration, work, higher education, public school support, food bank, and the church. Moving along to macro social work. The first is federal resources and policies. Doing a lot of research, there weren't many resources available, but these are some of the policies that I found. The first one is Migrant Education Program. The goal is to support migrant children and to reduce any disruptions in the classroom or any other problems that may arise. The next is the Every Student Succeeds Act. This act was established in 2015, and it is an off branch of the No Child Left Behind. The goal of this is to have an increased level of education for every student, and they have an increase in assessments, accountability of the teachers, program innovations, and other areas.
So taking a look at the state resources and policies, again, not a lot of resources at the state level, but North Carolina does not have legislation regarding college admission for undocumented immigrants. And this is a clearly defined issue in our state. North Carolina Community College System did adapt a policy that states immigrants who have graduated from a high school in the United States can attend a North Carolina community college, but they must pay out-of-state tuition, which is limiting to the immigrant population in North Carolina.
Focusing on school policies, there is a parent and family engagement policy. This is for caregivers. It makes sure that they are full partners in their child's education within decision-making and committees. It also ensures that they will get annual meetings with school staff. Another policy is the translation of policies into dominant languages, which just makes sure that when requested, policies, procedures, and guidelines are translated. Some local resources within Newland Elementary School are 2 translators and an English language learning teacher. In Ashe County, there is an unsanctioned local program that is a language education course run through a local church.
Measurable outcomes are an accessible language learning program, which would be taught to Ashe County through an advocacy brought by Advocacy and Planning. And the benefit would be that Celia and other Latinx individuals who are struggling to learn English would benefit from the program and be able to use English in their everyday spoken language better as well. Intervention. This also would be an advocacy type program. It was what we found is adopted from an immigrant learning center in Massachusetts, and the goal is to provide free year-long English classes taught to adults. It addresses other disparities within the immigrant community that they would face on a day-to-day basis. Modifications that would be required for Ashe County would be the location of neutral space that could be shared with those individuals that would like to attend the class.
To evaluate this program, we would monitor attendance, retention, and dropout rates. Satisfaction rates would also be monitored based on individual program outlook and the ability to complete program tasks and assignments. Whenever a individual drops the program, they would be given an exit survey to uncover program challenges and then potential improvements for the future. And then after this program has been running for 3 months, we would like to bring in an outside program evaluator just to check in on our program and how we're doing. Moving on to meso-social work.
As you can see, this is a pretty sparse screen as well, and that's because there are not a lot of local community resources for us to report on. Ashe County schools support over 3,000 students through 6 public schools. The primary source of social support is the Ashe County Social Services.
Some gaps in services and community programs are formal language education programs. They're not available for undocumented immigrants who did not graduate from a U.S. high school. Formal job assistance programs are limited because they are based on residency rather than need. Medical insurance and care are not easily accessible, and there are no services available in Ashe that focus solely on the Latinx population.
Our measurable outcome would be Celia's ability to communicate with school staff would improve, and she would be able to become more involved with Joey's education and behavioral issues. Additionally, Celia would gain knowledge about the school system, policies and procedures, so she would be more informed and able to make decisions concerning Carlos and Joey's education.
Okay, so the intervention that we decided was the use of check-in, check-out for Joey. And the social worker will create a check-in, check-out form that will hold Joey accountable and further enhance his education. This Tier 2 intervention is established to decrease any disruptive behavior in the educational setting and to ensure that Celia is engaged with this. The social worker and Celia will meet bi-weekly to discuss any concerns that they may have with Joey or any goals that Joey is improving on. So the evaluation plan. The check-in, check-out is a form created by the school social worker. Joey will write down his assignments, the due dates, and there will be a separate box for the signature of the parent and the teacher. Typically, we do this weekly because that's when the deadlines of assignments are due. Joey will then turn in his homework assignment, have the teacher sign it, bring the paper home and have the parent sign it, and then bring the form back in. Again, communication with the school social worker and Celia will improve through bi-weekly check-ins.
Now to focus on micro-social work. So we're going to touch on some social justice issues that Cecilia is facing. We're going to identify her strengths and her limitations. So her strengths are Cecilia is a compassionate, concerned parent, and it's evident in the case study that she cares about her family and she wants the best for her family. She's resilient. Cecilia has gone through a lot of hardships in life and she perseveres and she never gives up, and that is evident in her actions to provide for her family. And she is a very great, strong family support. So she is a great base for them, and a lot of her family members rely on her. Her limitations are that there are limited access to educational resources. This has limited her access to learning English as a second language. She has a lot of anxiety about deportation, which is understandable regarding their status in the United States. There is a lot of strain on family relationships, which is evident throughout the case study, and limited access to resources in Ashe County has also limited their thriving in society. So our goal for Celia would be to have reduced anxiety stemming from deportation over the course of 2 months. And to accomplish that goal, we created an intervention that would require the social worker to administer a general anxiety disorder 7 assessment, which assesses for anxiety levels. Then we would practice client-focused cognitive behavioral therapy with Celia, which would also include having her complete journal prompts twice a week to expand on her feelings and thoughts and opinions about her anxiety about deportation. And our sessions will occur weekly until there has been a 50% reduction in anxiety. And of course, adjustments will be made as needed. And to evaluate this intervention, we will keep reassessing her for anxiety using the General Anxiety Disorder 7 assessment. And this will be administered bi-weekly. With that data, we will conduct a single subject design evaluation to monitor her trend line. And that's where we will get her to see the reduction in anxiety. Maybe some weeks there's more anxiety than others. And we will have a treatment plan that will be monitored, and of course adjustments will be made as needed. And to wrap everything up in our conclusion, throughout the project we have identified several federal, state, and local policies. We understand that immigration and education policies were identified, and we explored gaps in services in Ashe County. Immigration and education affect the Sanchez family and on all levels of social work, so macro, meso, and micro. And after exploring the Ashe County community, we have identified that there's limited resources available for immigrant and Latinx populations, and that leaves significant room for improvement in the future. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to your feedback.